Find it, Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga, along with their entire new 2019 line. The open road is calling. Answer the call. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign on 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Join We've Got You Covered with Scott Schrader every Saturday from 10 to 11 on Nooga Radio. From finance to fixtures, we discuss everything you need to know about buying or owning a home, the pitfalls, the perks, and everything in between. Saturday mornings, 10 to 12, right here on Nooga Radio.
For your small business, ending the year the right way can set you up for success come January. No need to let end-of-year panic set in. Easy Books and Taxes can help set up your books or new payroll service so that you can relax and enjoy the holiday season. With 35 years, bookkeeping, individual, and business tax preparation, it's easy. With Easy Books and Taxes, you run the business, we keep the books. Call us today at 423-755-0821.
92.7 Nooga Radio.
Good morning, beautiful people here in the city of Chattanooga. It's your girl Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show. You know what it is. I'm taking it from the streets to City Hall, from City Hall to the mayor's office. Can't leave out the police department. From the Valley Low to the mountaintop, giving you guys a bird's eye view to what's going on here in the city of Chattanooga. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday to you if you're tuning in. Y'all know what it is, Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show. It's a beautiful fall day. We finally got some brisk weather out today. So I don't know about you. You might need a cardigan or a sweater if you're out and about this morning. A nice breeze. But I'm super excited because today is Know Your Rights Friday on the Marie Mott Show, but also because my team is out in Rome, Georgia right now. Mr. Mike Steele himself, Mr. Constitution, as I call him. If you listen, you know who he is. He's out and about at Russell Regional Airport today with the Wings Over North Georgia Air Show. You need to get there. Why? Because this is Media Day. We're out. We're not just always here in the studio, but we're out and about. When I say taking it to the streets, often that's where you can find us. So meet Mr. Mike Steele and my team, Nooga Radio 92.7, at Russell Regional Airport. Shake his hand. Have a conversation with Mr. Constitution himself. You owe it to yourself to meet us there. And it's going to be going on today, as well as Saturday and Sunday. So meet us there. Chop it up with us. Shout out to my team who's there right now. But y'all know what it is. Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show. And it's Know Your Rights Fridays. And I felt it imperative. I felt it super imperative to cover felonies today. Oh, man. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Felonies. I felt it important. Felonies.
Felony is?
What is a felony? This is Mr. Mike Steele we got on the line. What is a felony?
A felony is anything that can put you in jail over a year.
An infamous crime, is it not?
Before we get into felonies, let me talk about fun.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go through the F's.
The F's.
Fun here at the Russell Regional Airport, in Rome, Georgia. And maybe we can even get Marie here tomorrow or Sunday. Today's Media Day, so the public cannot enjoy it today. But Marie, it's going to be a beautiful weekend.
It is.
And, we're going to be set up, Nooga Radio, and I'm sure we can get Marie Mott out here tomorrow or Sunday. And if not, Wednesday we're going to be at Walmart in Hickson for our relief fund effort from 7 in the morning to 6 at night. I know Marie's going to show up sometime during the day.
Absolutely.
We want to meet our superstar from 11 to 12. That's a Huey aircraft you hear in the background. If you go to our Facebook page, I already did an interview with, get this, an A-10 pilot. There's lots of pictures of the A-10 Warthog, Marie, and also the YF-22 Raptor. They're going to be flying this weekend. The Tour Air Show. Let me tell you, there's no excuse not to come to this air show tomorrow and Sunday. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous. Only about 45 minutes to an hour from Chattanooga, well within the listening range of the radio station. Actually, I was picking up the station here in Rome, Georgia, if you can believe that, Marie.
Hey.
So, there you go. Are you coming out this weekend? You think we can get you out here?
Absolutely. I will certainly try my best. A lot going on this weekend,
but
live
in Rome,
absolutely.
Georgia at the Russell Regional Airport. It's Media Day today. Check our Facebook page for lots of pictures and live broadcast tomorrow and Sunday. And we'll see everybody here over the weekend.
Looking forward to it, Mike.
Thank you, Marie.
You're welcome. Oh, man. That's right. Meet us there, Russell Regional Airport. And today, so we went from fun, but let's have a serious conversation about felonies. So much we don't know. So much I am learning, discovering, and I feel it important. Good morning, Miss Lowe. I see you. I felt it important in going over the Constitution. Y'all know if you are a faithful listener, which I hope you are, because I love you and it's nothing you could do about that. I hope you are a faithful listener. But if you are new, if you're just tuning in for the first time today, or you've never tuned in on a Friday, I dedicate Fridays, hence now and forevermore, to constitutional law provision, breaking down the Constitution bit by bit and having serious conversations so we can understand our rights and what we should be fighting for. I think it's impossible for anybody to fight for something if they don't know what it is. And so the more you read the Constitution, the more you see big government is acting outside of the provisions of constitutional law. And the purposes from the founding fathers, ideology and understanding, first of all, it's based in faith. It's based in the common law, the goodwill of man, human morality, that we are endowed just simply as creatures made in the image of God. We are endowed with rights that should never be infringed upon. And it's a sad situation where not only is government in so many different ways in every single branch of government acting out of constitutional provision, I see that a lot of the problems that we have are simply because of that. We had Miss Shamika Burt on here yesterday with me, and that video is going nuts on views. If you didn't tune in yesterday, you missed out on a treat because Shamika, even though it's only 2 20-minute segments, and she tried to condense so much of her life experience into 40 minutes, talked about the state-sanctioned human trafficking of children yesterday. And a lot of us are not aware because we're in the rat race. We're trying to make it. The average American is one paycheck away from poverty and being out on the street. So a lot of us have just got our heads and our eyes in the game of trying to make it and stay on top, stay afloat in life. And we don't realize that a lot of things are not only impacting us, but our neighbor. And one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about this, in particular, felonies, is because when you look at the Constitution, and Mike Steele is actually the individual who challenged me on this. He said, Marie, he's from Philly. He said, Marie, tell me what are the 3 constitutional felonies? And of course, I love it when somebody challenges me because I want to do my homework. And so let's start at the Crimes Act of 1790. I've touched on this just a little bit, but I wanted to dedicate a whole show to this. If you have your phones, please Google the Crimes Act of 1790. And as always, I'm streaming live on Facebook. I wanted to say that. Streaming live on Facebook, Nougat Radio 92.7. If you want to call in and talk to me, 800-8949. The Crimes Act of 1790 only lists 3 federal punishments, which are treason, piracy, and counterfeiting. There are, in the eyes and the scope of constitutional law, only 3. Uno, dos, tres. 3 federal crimes: treason, piracy, counterfeiting. You got that? Treason, piracy, counterfeiting. Okay? Mike, if you're listening, they're saying that they can't hear me on the Facebook page. So treason, piracy, and counterfeiting. Now, how did we get to 2018 where the majority of the charges, especially when we look at police, and if I were to take a Chattanooga example, Diana Watt, the person that me speaking out about her arrest here in the city of Chattanooga at the hands of the Chattanooga Police Department set the course, really, of me ending up on the radio just as a guest. And the next thing you know, I'm on the radio having a show. It really started with my outrage. I hadn't seen the Avery Gray video beforehand, but the outrage of Diana Watt, who got pulled over for a traffic stop and decided that she wasn't going to sign a citation. And the sad part is that most people don't even understand. When you look at people like David Toulis, who's trying to push for Title 55 reform, if you don't know that word, Nuganomics, get up the breast on what he's trying to do and how he's getting pushed back by people like Mark Gravitt, the city attorney, the mayor's office, the police chief, none of which have responded, because you can't fight the law. The law states what it states. The Constitution says what it says, and it's not open to interpretation for people to try to justify government action. The whole purposes of constitutional provision is to restrict government as well as to restrict state from overreaching, overstepping the freedoms and individual liberties and rights of you. And so how did we get into a situation where people like Diana Watt, who's traveling privately because she's not participating in commerce, gets pulled over originally for an expired tag and supposedly because she does not have a driver's license? How does she end up, because she refuses to sign a citation because she has paperwork stating that her driver's license has been reinstituted? How does she get charged because she refused to sign a citation with felony charges if she didn't injure anybody, if she didn't kill anybody? How did she get charged with felonies? A simple question. How does a person in a traffic stop get charged with felonies? How does that happen? But on the flip side, if we look at counterfeiting, I'm going to state the case. We got to keep it real on the Marie Mott Show. If counterfeiting is a federal crime in the eyes of the Constitution, because it's only 3. If counterfeiting is a federal crime, then why isn't every banker, every person that's responsible for the Federal Reserve Bank, which is a cartel, and if you don't believe me, that's fine. For the folks who are intrigued, do your research. Look at, we talked about this 2 Fridays ago, I believe, constitutional money. Constitutional money is gold, silver, copper, nothing else. It's supposed to be made by the U.S. Mint or free coinage from the people. Never is it ever supposed to be paper money, fiat currency, which, if you know your history, there is no empire that has ever survived with fiat currency. It has never worked. It's never worked. There's not one successful economy that survived with fiat currency. How is it that counterfeiting now? So let's go back. How is it that Diana Watt could be charged with, I believe it was 6 felonies from a traffic stop, but counterfeiting is one of 3, one of the only constitutional federal laws that shall not be broken? The Federal Reserve does that every single day. We've talked about constitutional money. It wasn't until 1963. It wasn't until 1963 where you could take dollars and go to your bank and trade those dollars for silver. Why? Because it used to be, and this is history, go back and read it. It used to be that everything was based off of the gold standard. And we couldn't just print money. We couldn't just print money just because we wanted to. We couldn't do that. They're going to think I'm crazy. That's okay. Treason, piracy, counterfeiting. So how did we get into 2018 where we are living in the era of over-criminalization? Well, we talked about it day before yesterday. If the goal is, first of all, a lot of these systems that are in place are business. When you look at state-sanctioned human trafficking of children, it's big business in that, big money in that. Oh, somebody calling in already. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Talk to me.
Hey, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right. Talk to me.
Okay, I wanted to ask the question because this.
Hello?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, you said the 3 constitutional felonies, the crimes at 1790, treason, piracy, and counterfeit, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Those are the only things that you can be convicted of a felon by these 3, right?
According to the Constitution, yes, ma'am.
Wow. So I'm a 10-year felon on attempted aggravated child neglect. So is it, I mean, how was they able to do that? Is it because I was ignorant of the law, or I'm just amazed at this?
Mm-hmm. Well, part of that is because a lot of us, how many of you out there went over in depth, even just a brief overview, the Constitution in school?
Not one time.
Not one time. Why do you believe that?
They didn't want us to know. They didn't want us to know, our rights. Evidently, they hid it from us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
And we've talked about this before. Thank you so much, caller. We've talked about this before on my show, where the purposes of school, if you look at how our parochial school system was set up in the first place, we had an agricultural and industrial boom in this country, and we needed people to work. Some of those folks were children. At one point, our country, we haven't always had OSHA. We haven't always had these laws that protected the rights of individuals in the workplace. That's something of pretty much that's happened within the last century. We needed that next generation of workers to go into these factories that we used to have in our country to work. We weren't creating a class of thinkers. We weren't creating a class of people with knowledge. We weren't creating a class of people who would be revolutionaries, who would fight back. What we were creating was a class of workers. And so bigger than that, because if we look at how, like the Federal Reserve, which is a cartel because it's privatized. It's privatized. It's not for the people, not by the people. And it's not even operating under constitutional standards. Because if we look at the 3 federal crimes, according to the Constitution and the Crimes Act of 1790, counterfeiting is one of those. So that means that the people that are over the Federal Reserve Act and pretty much every banker in America, and I'm not talking about the lower level people who work in the bank. I'm talking about the people who know better. Counterfeiting is one of the only crimes that is punishable by death. Punishable by death. Do y'all understand that? Punishable by death, according to the Constitution. You see, those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. And let me, I didn't start off like I was supposed to. I have have to put in a quote for today. Voltaire said, "It is dangerous to be right when the government is wrong." I'm telling you, I know some ears are raising the more I talk about this. Part of it is because we're talking about several systems in just about every faction of government, from the courts to taxes to banks. We're talking about several different parts of government that are getting rich on benefiting and profiting off of not only the ignorance of the common citizen in person, but rather benefiting and having control. And does anybody question, why am I doing this? Why are we doing this? Does it make sense? Oh. We're going to keep going into it on the second half of the segment, but we are living in a time of overcriminalization. And according to the Constitution, it is only 3 federal crimes: piracy, right? Piracy, counterfeiting, and treason. And the only ways that you can prove any of this is through due process. All of this is tied together, folks. And the more that people fight back, the more that we wake up, trust that the dominoes will start falling right before our very eyes. Let's wake up, good people, and take back our republic. Y'all know what it is. Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show, dropping it heavy on Know Your Rights Fridays. Stay tuned for the second half of the segment.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
More road construction coming to the city. TDOT says contractors will be working on surface repairs for I-24 east near US 27. Work will start 9 p.m. Friday night, will finish by 2 p.m. Saturday afternoon. One lane of traffic will remain open at times, but the lane may change as construction continues. 2 men on the TBI's top 10 most wanted list arrested after a prison break. Dwayne Halfacre and Jonathan Baxter both allegedly attacked a prison guard and escaped from their holding facility. They were on the run for just a day. Dwayne Halfacre, no stranger to the fugitive life. He was the subject of an almost week-long manhunt following an armed robbery in Rutherford County. And a young boy from Chattanooga diagnosed with a rare illness that's seen an increase in diagnosis across the country. It's called AFM, or acute flaccid myelitis. The condition is described as a very rapid onset of muscle weakness. The cause remains unknown. Val St. John for Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Cash, 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 and more cash. Get 8.1% return on your money. Rick Davis can turn your cash into real money. Gold and silver bullion. American Eagle Gold. The banks give you a measly 1.9%. At Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, you'll get 8.1% return on your money. 8.1% return on your money. Wow! Whether you're buying an ounce or 100 ounces, Rick guarantees it in writing. 8.1% Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. Brainerd Road, Chattanooga.
It's that time of year again. For the 7th year, Wings Over North Georgia Air Show will be Saturday, October the 13th, and Sunday, October the 14th. You'll see some of our government's finest assets flying in the world today. The rarely seen Air Combat F-22 Raptor demo team and the A-10 Warthog will both headline the show, along with Tora Tora Tora, which is the reenactment of Pearl Harbor to include pyrotechnics. Patty Wagstaff and Michael Goulian, both world aerobatic champions, will be showing off their amazing skills, along with numerous other aviation rock stars. On the ground, you'll be able to experience military static displays and even have an opportunity to ride in a Huey or Cobra helicopter. Wings Over North Georgia is an action-packed way to spend a weekend with your family. You can even camp on the grounds. The Richard B. Russell Regional Airport is the place for all the action on October the 13th and the 14th. For tickets and camping reservations, visit wingsovernorthgeorgia.com.
I'm Bo Watson, and I approve this ad. Neighbors, I'm your state senator, Bo Watson. Jobs, education, safety. These were my priorities when I first ran for office, and they continue to be my focus. We've made great progress in Tennessee the past 4 years. Let's keep it going. Believe in Tennessee. Vote Bo in November. Paid for by friends of Bo Watson, Boy W. Watson III, Treasurer, votefortennessee.com.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga roofing contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com for Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust. Man, you sure you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I worked with my dad on his truck all the time. Just one more bolt to go.
Yeah, wrong bolt. Today's truck ain't your daddy's truck. For repairs on today's vehicles, you need Amco Transmission and Total Car Care of Chattanooga on Lee Highway. Stay on the road, not in the garage. Amco Transmission on Lee Highway. Get it done the right way, the Thompson Pet way. Yeah, I just put that anyway.
Join We've Got You Covered with Scott Schrader every Saturday from 10 to 11 on Nooga Radio. From finance to fixtures, we discuss everything you need to know about buying or owning a home, the pitfalls, the perks, and everything in between. Saturday mornings, 10 to 12, right here on Nooga Radio.
Nooga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
It's been lots of sunshine and beautiful weather out there for your afternoon. High settling into the upper 60s. Tonight, high clouds will push in, still dry and cool, lows near 50. For Saturday, becoming mostly sunny, upper 60s. More clouds, may see a sprinkle, but not bad Sunday. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's. Home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world famous sauce. Open daily. Locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good. And I'm Sorgene 12, Chief Meteorologist, Patrick Moore.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
On average, the average American individual, commits 3 felonies a day. Did you know that? It's an excellent read. Pick that book up. Y'all know me. I love to read. And the more you read, the more that you will know. The average citizen here in the United States commits 3 felonies a day. Why? Because everything, literally, just about everything, is against the law. And, you know, I can't change who I am. I can't change how I was raised. I was raised in a church. I'm a church baby. I'm a believer. I love the Lord and I love his people. That means you. I love you. That's why I talked about agape love, unconditional, godlike love, a love that we're really missing in this time overall, because of my faith. And I'm not ashamed of what I believe and who I believe. And when we talk about the reason Christ came into this world as a homeless, and I talked to my mother about this last night and she chuckled when I said this, but it's true. Our Savior here in the Southern Bible Belt was a homeless revolutionary who was against the overreach of the state and died because of that. Are y'all hear me? He died because of that. Christ was a homeless revolutionary. So every time you step over a homeless person, you're stepping over a person made in the image of your Savior. You're stepping over. Y'all ready for me to be real? 3 felonies. The purpose of Christ coming into the world, there was just so many laws, so many provisions, so many statutes, all of this stuff going on. They had taken 10 commandments. Does that sound familiar? Just one document, like the Constitution. They had taken 10 commandments, which are simple, plain, easy to understand, and it made it complex, impossible for people to just do the simplest of things, like how many steps you could take on the Sabbath. And so Christ came, as we believe, and stated that we can just sum up everything into 2 laws: love God, love people. That's it. Case closed. One and done. The simplification of this matter, the reason for the Constitution, is to keep it simple so people can truly be free. What does freedom look like? Do you know what freedom looks like? We say that we are free, right? We're free. Supposedly, we're free. And we do a lot of things and we don't even understand why. We don't understand why. The Federal Reserve wasn't something created until 1913 and created from executive order from a president that was completely against constitutional law and provision. And slowly within the past century, we have eroded over constitutional provision. And how has that been working out for us? I don't say it's working. We had the financial crisis in 2008. And why? And how do we get, does anybody know how we got out of the financial crisis in 2008? We kept printing more money. So we took a bubble that had already burst and said, oh, the way we're going to save ourselves is just to create another bubble. Does that make sense? Or maybe in some ways, we need to go back. Now, I believe in leaving room. I believe in leaving room for growth, for the acceptance of new information and understanding as it presents itself. I'm an objectivist. So what I believe is firmly what I believe until I get better information in my hands and it's sound and sensible. I cannot change what I believe on a whim or because it's popular. And my daddy says stupidity is doing the same things over and over and expecting your life to work out differently. How did we get into this predicament? Because we think we're so smart, and it's not really the people. It's the people in power have chosen to step in, and really it's for personal gain. How does it benefit a person to be convicted of federal crimes if on average the average citizen makes three felonies a day? How do we get there? Over criminalization. Everything. Everybody's got to be a felon. And part of, and this is why I say it's every branch of government that has gotten in bed with one another. How could they pull a scheme like this off? Well, if you give the power over to the district attorney, who is the most powerful person in America, the district attorney, who gets to decide how they're going to proceed in the courtroom. And really, in reality, according to the Constitution, the most powerful people in the journey is in the courtroom is the jury. The jury. That's why I've talked about jury nullification. You don't know what that is, please Google it, save it. Jury nullification, where if we can't get justice in any other way, we're going to start showing up for jury duty and we're going to start setting people free. Because when you have a situation like Shamika, I asked her yesterday, who was accused of basically aggravated assault, or aggravated charge, which was a felony, which could have landed her in prison, I believe 10 to 20 years is what she told me. She pled guilty to her lesser charge, which still was a felony. And so this is how the game works. So there's classes of felonies. See how it's so garbage. It's classes of felonies. And so, for this class of felonies, you may get in jail. You may go to jail for 20, 25 years. And what person doesn't swallow hard if you have a charge like that against you, where you could be locked up, whether you're innocent or not, locked up for 20 years. And don't even talk to me about if you're poor or you're impoverished. How do you even begin to understand what your rights are? That you have a right to due process, to know who your accusers are, to have access to all of the information against you, to a neutral jury of your peers, to defend yourself, or to have a qualified legal representative defend your honor and your name. If you don't even know that you have those rights, if you don't even know that you can file your own motions, ask for discovery, if you don't even know that you'll cop to a charge, well, we'll give you 10 years of probation if you plead guilty. You're still a felon. And I've talked about this before. The burden of any proof of any crimes is on the state. And imagine if only 3 to 4% of cases are making it to a judge anyways. Because 96 to 97% of people are copping a plea. Imagine if just 1,000 people, if we just look at Chattanooga, imagine if the next 1,000 people who are going to be charged with a felony said, oh, whether you're guilty or not, it's not important. The question is, can they prove it? I'm being real. Can they prove it? Imagine if the people said, well, I understand that the possibility is that I could be looking at 20 years in prison. But you got to prove it. And guess what? I get to have all of the information of everything you have against me before we show up to court. And imagine if just the next 1,000 people who were charged with a felony here in the city of Chattanooga, imagine if they stated that they wanted to take their case to trial. If our dockets are already overwhelmed, imagine if more people decided to stand up and say, you know what? Regardless of if I did something or not, it's the burden of the state to prove that I did it. And if they are having a tough time already with the caseload and the workload in the court system, if more people said, take it to trial. No, I'm not going to plead guilty. You got to prove that I did it. Felonies. You see how the system works? Overcriminalization. Let's start breaking down words. Some of these words we don't hear very often. Treason. What is treason? The crime of betraying one's country, especially by attempting to kill the sovereign or overthrow the government. Okay. What is piracy or buccaneering? The practice of attacking and robbing ships at sea. I don't know how many people are doing that. Counterfeit. What is counterfeiting in the form of money? Imitating, fraudulently imitating or forging, reproducing a hard copy of money. We talked about it. When we look at constitutional money, there's only gold, silver, and copper coinage. And what is the penalty for making any other currency outside of that? It is death. So how did you end up copying to a felony charge? And we have people making counterfeit money every single day. That if this economy crashes, how much is your paper money going to be worth? Everything that you got in the bank. How much? It's not worth the paper it's printed on now, really. What will it be worth when the economy crashes? And it's really only a matter of time, if I'm being real. If all we did was print more money to get out of the 2008 financial crash, that's all we did was blow up a bigger bubble. I beg every person that listens to me, please, reading is fundamental. I need you to read. 3 Felonies a Day is an excellent read. And I thank a friend of mine for recommending that book to me, Mr. Allen, who recommended that book to me, and it was an excellent read. 3 Felonies a Day. We're living in the time of over-criminalization. And the reason that we need to fight back is because of this governmental overreach. It's absolutely insane that we have parts of the government that are getting away with crimes against in the eyes of the Constitution. But the average person that walks into an American courtroom is so intimidated by a district attorney, intimidated by the charges against them, that many of them, the majority of people who are going to walk into an American, not a Syrian, not a Russian, okay, an American courtroom are not going to get justice. So how do we fight back? Can we fight back? Is it possible? Do we take this and do we just accept it? Are we going to allow our loved ones, the people we care about, our neighbor, free citizens in the eyes of God and Christ, who came and simplified the law because it was too complex? Love God, love people. Respect God, respect people. And even if, because I respect even a person who chooses not to be spiritual when it comes to humanity. Because if your belief is not based in faith, it still can be based in humanity. That humanity states that we should respect the individual civil liberties and rights of the person. And never should that be infringed upon. And the moment that we do that, we are rebelling in a republic and certainly making it unhealthy. How do we fight back? Well, the thing that I've learned about bullies is the only way you stop people from bullying you is you got somebody somewhere. And I've punched a bully before. Growing up, I'm still heavy set, and that's fine. I'm still fine. Still fine. Still beautiful. But people used to tease me about my weight as a kid, and I didn't have the confidence. Part of the reason why is I didn't have the confidence, and I can be honest about that. I didn't have the confidence to fight back. I didn't have the confidence, despite the fact that my daddy told me that, you know, people can say what they want, just don't let them put their hands on you. You know, despite the fact that I didn't grow up in a household where people told me to be a wimp or a chump. The only way I got a bully off of my back was I had to punch the bully and live with the consequences after doing that. It's going to have to take somebody somewhere, as Fannie Lou Hamer would say, being sick and tired of being sick and tired. And if we say that we're free and we claim that we live in the freest nation in the world, and we preach that we have liberties and God-given rights, well, as they would say in church, you got to show some signs. Where's the proof that we're free? Where's the proof? Is the proof in 96 to 97% of people, often copping to charges against them in our criminal justice system that they're not even guilty of. And partly because they went to public schools, which never taught them their rights. For the parents or even grandparents, because it's some grandparents who raise children, ask your children, have they gone over the Constitution? Do they know what their rights are? Do they know what their rights are? And if anybody is impressed with me as far as my intellect or my language or my viewpoint, a lot of that has to do with the people who raised me. Everything that I learned, I didn't learn it in school. I'm grateful that I had parents who gave me some extracurricular. That I had parents who would go over African-American history with me. I had parents who I couldn't just read 2 books on the book reading list. We had to read them all. Part of being a parent is also not expecting that everything your child needs to know, they're going to learn it in school. There's some things that only you should be discussing with your children. And if you leave it up to other people, your child is A, probably not going to know, or 2, the benefit of them knowing is probably not going to be for their behalf. Everybody is not it. Well, that's not the purposes of school in the first place. But certainly, people are not interested in people being free. If Voltaire said it's dangerous for people to be right and the government to be wrong, well, I don't see this going too well initially. I don't see this going too well if people start waking up and saying, no, take me to court. Take me to court. Or if you're like Shamika and the state has come in and stated that they're going to take your children, you still have a right to due process, meaning that they have to prove that you've abused your child without a reasonable doubt. See these words, this language, we got to understand it. Reasonable doubt. 3 felonies a day. But we're living supposedly in the freest country in the world. According to the Constitution, it is only 3 federal crimes. Only 3. Piracy, counterfeiting, and treason. So that means if we're living by the Constitution, anything else that you do should be a misdemeanor. And really, nobody should be charged with any crimes unless the burden of proof is there in due process. I love you guys, and guess what? There's nothing you can do about it. See y'all next week.
3, 2, 1. Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
More road construction coming to the city. TDOT says contractors will be working on surface repairs for I-24 east near US 27. Work will start 9 p.m. Friday night, will finish by 2 p.m. Saturday afternoon. 1 lane of traffic will remain open at times, but the lane may change as construction continues. 2 men on the TBI's top 10 most wanted list arrested after a prison break. Dwayne Halfacre and Jonathan Baxter both allegedly attacked a prison guard and escaped from their holding facility. They were on the run for just